mine. And I find that if I'm focusing on money, it becomes harder for me to think about other people. You know, I always see other wellness coaches like, yeah, you can have the money and you can have the business and that. And I can tell by the way they're screaming at me through their marketing ad that that balance has not been truly reached. He's a high priest, and like once you become a high priest, you actually are not allowed to ever leave your house again unless it's for a specific ceremony. Anyways, he met me. I told this guy nothing about myself. And he said, you'll never make money if you try to make money. You should stop trying to market yourself because it's not your path. Anything you try to do and your intention for doing it is to make money, it's never going to work and you'll never have money. But if you give and if you work on your healing journey and sharing that with others, you will have so much more than you could even imagine. And I was triggered at that time because I was heavy on my marketing, my coaching business at that time. So it felt like an attack. Like, what do you mean? Of course I'm going to be making money doing what I love. But then I realized, like I was on the back of the scooter in Bali with my husband. And we were riding, and it dawned on me like, wow, for some people, the spiritual journey is like part-time, you know? Like I do 2 hours of yoga a day or 1 hour, and I meditate in the morning. That is their spiritual journey. But for some people, like when I travel to India and places like Bodh Gaya, and I see the monks, the Tibetan monks, the Vietnamese monks, the people who their whole life is dedicated to taming their mind. It's a way of living. It's a way of being. It's not like this thing. I'm part-time spiritual. I do my spiritual practice in the morning. And the priest was 100% right about my path. And seeing that in a way feels so liberating for me, that I don't have to chase stuff anymore. And I'm so grateful to God. So I believe that spiritual people are not spiritual part-time. It sounds crazy, but you know, like when you look at spiritual coaches who are like, yeah, you can have money and you can launch in a intuitive way. You don't have to give up the money. But I want to ask like all the spiritual coaches out there, do you not feel there's some friction, no matter how much it's marketed, that you can have the money, chase the bag, do the launch, the email sequences? Don't you feel exhausted? Don't you feel that your true calling is to learn, to study, to reflect, to meditate? I don't know. Have you found that balance where you can authentically chase the bag and also genuinely embark on your spiritual path? For me, I mean, I can do both. I know marketing really well, but it just doesn't feel authentic for me. I don't know what it is. And for me, the middle way is simply expressing myself like I'm doing now, sharing my truth and my journey, and then taming my mind and actively working towards uprooting the seeds of jealousy and anger and pain and rage and attachment, which takes so much time. But I believe that's my path. I don't know, to some people I probably sound completely insane, but what are your thoughts on this? How are you finding the balance between your business and your taming your mind genuinely? Not what your business coach told you, but what are you feeling inside? Let me know in the comment section below. It's true that to whom much is given, much is required. And I have been given so much. So I'm willing to now just give it away. Give the information, the knowledge, everything. Just give it away. And if I have a place to sleep, and it's so bizarre because I can imagine like saying these kind of things, and this is why I didn't feel like I really fit in America. Because I imagine if I'm not like, yeah, I want like next year is my 1 million mark year. These things completely it doesn't speak to me. And it's so interesting because the moment I started thinking in this way, I started attracting so many people who are very wealthy and famous, and I just honor their being. I don't want to take anything from them. You know, whereas before I would be like striving for these connections and to know this person and that person. And I feel like with the mindset that I can give what I know, I can share what I know, I can give love, I can give compassion. Whenever I meet someone, I can actually connect with them on a human level rather than thinking about what I can take from them. And my relationships are so much better. And I think it's really just about knowing yourself and knowing your path. It's interesting seeing a lot of the healers in Bali who don't take money from people. They just take donations and all their needs are taken care of. And I'm not saying that you have to either choose between spirituality or money, but I think it's important to like observe yourself and see what happens when you are chasing the bag. Just see. I'm not. Just look. And I'm curious to know your experience in the comment section below. How is it for you, really? I know for me, like, I value money so much and I'm very like careful with it. I don't buy things I don't need for no reason. But I see that when I am in pursuit of it, the whole quality of my mind and my being and my peace changes. You need the money in order to have the access to things, right? You need money in order to pay the bills and to have lights. If I have lights, if I have food, if I have shelter, then I don't feel like I need to actually chase money. And so I shifted my perspective when I started doing my affirmations, when I wanted to have more money. And I started thinking about I just want access to be able to create, to be able to eat, to be able to live. The money itself, like, I don't need to directly have it. And I think that has attracted like so much abundance in my life in the strangest way. Like, I always wanted to have like rich, famous friends and like, access to like being able to do things like this. But I have a very rich life. And I'm extremely grateful for that. And my path and my journey is committed to taming my mind, finding happiness, fearlessness, and then being able to share that for free with every single person, far and wide. And I pray that all living beings may have their needs met, and that all living beings should never go a day without food, without shelter, without love. That's always my prayer.